Lifecycle Insights, we are excited to release the beta version of our report builder. If you have already submitted a ticket or an email to support@lifecycleinsights.io, when you log in, you should see the new report builder beta option in the company reports in the left-hand navigation. If you do not see it, then send us a quick note, support@lifecycleinsights.io, and we will turn it on for you straight away. So let me click in and talk through three things. First, I'm going to show you how to use a template to consistently have a report built for each of your clients. So the notion of report builder is to create a framework that says, I want an asset list that's always sorted by warranty expiration date. I want a second asset list that shows assets that have expired. I want the user list sorted in date order so that I can see users that maybe haven't logged in 3 months so that we can clean that up. I want a 5-year and a 6-quarter detailed budget forecast, maybe 2 projects that I've assigned, and my latest assessment. All tied into one. I always want that. That's my consistent flow for a business review. And I'd like to be able to replicate that across all clients. That's the intent of the report builder. So you build a general framework and then you're able to review it for each of your clients. So I'm going to go through 3 things. First, what it looks like to use a template. Second, how to present that template. Third, how to build your own, because you might have multiple templates that you want to build. You might want to build one that's larger for an annual review, and then maybe your quarterlies are a smaller version of that, and maybe you have a single template that's just for conversations around warranty lookups, etc. So really you have tons of options, and we're excited to see what everyone does from this so that we can share with all. So if you have good ideas for the community, let us know, and we will always mention it on one of our workshops. So to start, you can see under pre-built templates, you've got the option to build from scratch, but we have populated the LCI sample template into your site. So we're going to start with that for today. When I click on that, you'll notice immediately that I get a sample agenda. This is just our standard template agenda, completely editable for you. So don't feel that you have to use this. Of course, you could revise it right within the platform, or you could upload your own, but we'll get to that in a minute. We're just going to talk through using the template as is. The first thing I want to draw your attention to is the report contents down the left-hand side. This is very familiar if the functionality of building a PowerPoint in Google or PowerPoint slides works, in that you can click on and see each of the components. So let's look. Alex has built an agenda, a generic executive summary. This isn't specific. We don't type in the specific number because remember, we're going to apply this template across all clients. So we will wait until we're finished setting it up before we decide on that. Assessment summary. We don't know which assessment we want, so we have to go in and choose that. But we know we want the 5-year budget forecast. And these are the reporting options that we've chosen. If you decide that's not what I would like my 5-year budget forecast to look like, and you just want your 5-year forecast to include these options, you can select them. And when you do, you'll notice on the left-hand side under template options that it says changes pending. You're now altering the template so that every time you run this, it will have that setting for the 5-year budget. If you only want it that way for the specific client, you're going to want to save as new template and maybe name it for the client. If you want your overall template saved like that, you can leave it. Why don't we have a regular save button on this one right now? Well, right now you're in our group, sample template, and we don't want to overwrite that for everyone. So the first time you make any changes to this template, you will have to save to new to import it into your site. But normally you'll have a save option and a save as new. Same thing for 6-quarter budget. We already have the detail pieces built in the configuration options. Project summary. Project summary, you'll note, is the same as assessment summary, where you have to actually choose which project you will want to display because they are unique to clients, as opposed to things like the users, the asset list, or the budgets. And I can show an example of that in the assets nearing warranty expiration. In any of these reports, asset list, user, budget, forecast, it saves the columns you've selected as well as any filtering or swatching. So this report is always going to populate with expiring warranties where the devices are also expiring. If you wanted to see the opposite of that, if you wanted to see end of life where the machine is still in play but the warranties are expiring, then you will want to resave this, and you might even want to rename this particular component. So instead of assets nearing warranty expiration, like with active devices or something. So if you think of each piece as a component and how you might want to look at it in a report, that's a good way to kind of think about this. So if we've looked at the template, we said, okay, we know what this does. Now I can change that, and I could select any company in my site and it will run the exact same report. So if I switch to sample company, which doesn't have any devices, it would then grab the information there. But since I've only got Acme Core in my demo site, I'm going to select back. But if you have 5 companies, you can run the exact same report across all 5 companies, really with the click of the drop down at this point. So that's the end of part 1, using the template. Part 2, presenting the template. 2 options. First, you can download this to Word. If you download this to Word, you have the ability to, per client, you could, edit your business review, because now you could add your own logo or maybe a client logo. You could add lots of other pieces. And when you print it, you'll get all of the reports you're familiar with. It is a large report. If you think about the components that we just talked through, 2 projects, 2 versions of an asset list, 2 versions of a budget, etc. It takes a while to download that. Open your report, you'll see the cover page you may have added. You may have a blank page in front that you need to delete, but remember, everything now is in Word. So now you can add, discuss action from accounting department device from last time, etc. So this is really where you customize it to an individual client that you would be able to mail to them or deliver in person, depending on how you're able to do your business reviews. And as you scroll through, you'll see your reports as you would expect them in the order that they developed in the report builder. So if I wanted to print this same report for all of my clients now, I could just go run the report again, right? I could just click over to the next client and I'd be good to go. So that's how the download plays into this. I do want to point out that we have reporting documentation in the yellow help here. So if you want to watch this video again or look at the step-by-step directions in the help doc, it's available right here. But while we're on the top line, let's go to present mode. And present mode turns it into more like a slide deck where we can walk through each of the slides and present to our clients. So this is very much showing how you have the report builder set up. So you can see the full agenda, and then each component is now a slide for you to review. So you can have the conversation around the overall score and scroll through your assessment. I just grabbed a little one. So remember, whichever components you had in your report, you can look at now. And the nice thing is that the budget, the asset list, and the user list, you can change reporting options still within preview. So if during the conversation, your client said, can you just show me the workstations that we're talking about replacing? You can do that right within the presentation. So hopefully we all get that. The projects populate. Remember that you had to pre-select when you were in the template itself. So that's part 2, how to present. We either have the download version or present. And review gives you basically inside the same mode that present would do, but you can still move if you wanted to reorganize your, the components, etc., it'll let you do that. So design edit is really where you want to be for creation. If you want to check it out, And then present mode is really for previewing in front of your client. So the last piece is to create a new template. So this is when I'm going to build from scratch. It lets me know if I want to save my changes. In this case, I don't want to save my changes. I want to leave the template as is. So I'm going to say, okay. Otherwise, it will save them for me. So here, if I'm building from scratch, I literally am building from scratch. So I can add a report component. You have the ability to add lots of options. So I want to take a look at them in two different categories. I'm going to start with the second one down all the way through about 6 or 7 of them. So asset list, user list, budget forecast, project summary, project roadmap, assessment summary, and assessment detail templates all should sound familiar because they're all exactly the same as the reporting already existing in Lifecycle Insights. So if you select to add an asset list template, you can add one from the library that we've already built. So we built a couple, one on end of life assets, right? So as you can imagine, this would filter by the end of life that's red, or red and yellow, and assets nearing warranty expiration. So if they're nearing, that would be red and yellow. The end of life would just be red. So if I wanted to add that component, I can add it here, and you will see that regardless of which company I pick, this report will be filtered this way. I can then let me add a project summary. Project summary, I'm going to add that component. Now this is a little different because you will need to select which project. It doesn't automatically pull your last project. For example, you could have a whole list of projects. So you will need to choose for each company which project you want to include. And budget forecast, right? We have a couple different options already built for you. Do you want the 5-year summary budget forecast or the 6-quarter detailed budget? We can add that there. You can use the sliders here to change the order, etc. But again, all of those that I just mentioned are the same reports that you would expect to build in Lifecycle Insights. But we've added a few other components that give you the flexibility to really customize it for your client and really put your proven process as part of the business review. So you can add an agenda template. So you could use our sample agenda and pull that right in and still can edit it. Or you could start with a blank agenda that will give you a WYSIWYG editor, and you can create your own agenda here. You can also, so once you get the blank agenda, you might want that at the beginning of the meeting. Okay, if I want to add a Microsoft Word file, I could add one, and maybe I want this to be my cover page. So I'm really going to move that to the top, above the agenda even. And I can upload a Word file here. It does need to be a .doc, so be sure to save appropriately. But I'm going to grab a cover page that I had already built. It pulls it in. And this is more for the printout. So when you download, you'll have a pretty cover page on there. You can also add a text block template. So this might be something you would want to add, maybe if you want to cut and paste some pieces from the dashboard tile. Oh, let me change that and save. So I will save this as a new template. So this is Marnie Stockman reporting template new. I can see I've saved it. Now I'll be able to rename it, save it new, or delete the template if need be. So I might want to go and add maybe my end of life dashboard tile. Let's go ahead in that empty text block, and I'm going to cut and paste an image. So I took a screenshot of this dashboard tile. So I'm going to control copy that and paste it into the doc. It's definitely large. Let me save that again so that it shows up. And now when I go through and present, so we're going through the same, let me pull this back on the screen. Here we go. Now my dashboard tiles can show. So really there are a lot of options that you can add and play around. for to save your own template. And then again, as you switch companies, all of these same pieces will show up. So that's the important piece to think about, is that if you're building a template for a single company, so you're putting screenshots in that are relevant only to Acme Core, then you should save that template as Acme Core, because it will have screenshots specific to that client. If you're downloading it and then want to update it so that it's customizable for all that's using it more as a template. So if you have any questions, you can go to help and submit a ticket, or email support@lifecycleinsights.io. We're very much looking forward to getting feedback from you. And again, if you go into the help, the question mark here, and read the Word doc, we're keeping track of bugs that we found and fixed, as well as future enhancements that we're currently working on and ideas for the future. So please submit your feedback. We would love to get it. Thanks so much, and happy Lifecycle.